Game number 1 of this best of 3, and we start in the top left-hand side of Simulacrum with the red Terran player from Team Liquid. This is TaeJa. Taking on the blue Zerg in the bottom right, a mainstay in these ESL Open Cup Koreas, consistently making it to the later rounds. It is our blue Zerg player, Scarlett, from Brave Star Gaming. Game 1 of a best of 3 series here in the quarterfinals of ESL Open Cup Korea number 22. Are we on this week? 22 already. Feels like these numbers just keep on going higher so quickly. It happens so fast. Alright, well, this one should be a good one. Looking forward to it, thinking it's going to be great. It's one of the ones that's very clickbaity because Scarlett and TaeJa are super popular, so maybe I'll say hello to everybody. If you're watching this on YouTube, then it means that it wasn't just 2 back-to-back roach rushes and everything died instantly. It means it was a bit better than that. Hello, don't forget to like and subscribe. Helps out the channel a whole bunch. And of course, here on Twitch live, it is Monday, and this is how we start on Mondays. We start off with a bunch of StarCraft. We cast loads of it. We just keep going. We don't stop. It's just StarCraft all day on Mondays. It's ESL Open Cup into ESL Open Cup into ESL Open. No, we don't do the third one. We are not crazy. Someday, one day, a man shall take on the triple, but I did it the first week that the ESL Open Cups were out, and it was an effort. And I think it's harder now because the cups are actually more spread out than they were before, or something. I can't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What does matter is that this series is underway, and TaeJa has definitely been impressing lately. I think everyone obviously saw his performance in GSL, and everyone got very hyped about his performance in GSL because he looked pretty darn good. Especially against Dark, so really excited to see what he can bring to the matchup here, taking on Scarlett in this first game of the series already. Reaper from TaeJa will move down to the lower right-hand side. He's going to move into the natural, and a couple of Lings already taking some shots of damage. So a few Lings taking some damage here, and we're just going to be seeing the drone. As, the drone's obviously going to be the next target once these Lings are backed away, but that's when the Queen comes out and keeps this fairly safe. TaeJa will keep some HP on the Reaper and maybe try and challenge the Creep Tumor coming down a little bit. Scarlett is going to get it, and TaeJa dives for it, and he gets out with the Reaper alive, even gets a Zergling kill. Amazing play with the Reaper. That's exactly what you want. Got Creep Tumor coming down. Scarlett believed she could get it there, but her Lings just weren't quite far enough forward to keep that Reaper zoned out. And so TaeJa is able to find the Creep Tumor early, and that's a fantastic start. And that's exactly why you want to try and deal some damage. Oh my goodness, TaeJa missed the target fire initially, unfortunately. He actually hit the Queen once, I believe, or maybe a Zergling an extra time. That maybe could have been the Creep Tumor denial again if that first shot had gone off a little bit better. The grenade goes down, it bops the Queen out the way, and then you can just obviously, then the Queen's just not dealing as much damage. Nice to keep the Reaper alive, though, because you really don't want to lose it. If you lose the Reaper, that's the moment where the Roach Horn does go down. Roaches come across the map, and you just don't have the information to really deal with that at all. So that's something to always be careful of, and that's why this is a dance with this Reaper in the early stages, because it's great to deny the Creep Tumors, but it's also really nice to keep the Reaper alive. This Reaper did get a scout in the main, so it already picked up some info. TaeJa going to turn this into Banshees alongside the Hellions, and a very quick 3cc, so this was just 1 gas. Probably means that, okay, you will go Cloak. This doesn't always have to be Cloak. You can just go 3cc off 1 gas and play Cloakless Banshee. And it just keeps you very safe across the board because, well, you've got 1 gas. And you just don't have, too much gas to do much else with. But this one's going to work out here. The Scarlett goes Banelin Nest in the lair. And she has typically enjoyed a Ling Bane Muta style as of late. Playing a lot of Ling Bane Muta with the faster Baneling speed and the faster Mutalisks, and then into later 1-1 melee upgrades has been the general way in which things have gone recently when it comes to this kind of Scarlett ZvT matchup. So lair about halfway done, the Banelin Nest about to complete from Scarlett, and TaeJa out in the middle of the map just with these couple of Hellions trying to see what's going on. Of course, his first Banshee is out down to the bottom side, and that's already moving into position to try and deal some damage here. Scarlett's preparation, while she will not necessarily need Spore Crawlers, she will have Overseers, although Spores are still nice to have because they do create that stationary defense. It means your Queens can move away to other locations. You still have something there to help fight. She will add Spores alongside the Overseer, so she's going to be pretty well prepared. The Banshees will still potentially find openings, but she's going to have the tools she needs to shut those Banshees down to really deny them a lot of damage. As the third CC from TaeJa comes down behind all of this, obviously the creep really spreading out in multiple directions already from Scarlett, so she's looking good to keep pushing this creep out on the map, as we'll see our Hellions over to the far right-hand side. And there are the 1-1 upgrades on the engineering base already from TaeJa, so getting the 1-1 up and rolling with the stim pack well underway. It's not too long until we actually start seeing our first little bio drops out on the map, and some pushes there to deal some damage as Scarlett's Spire's halfway done. The evolution chambers are just starting, so there's the delay on the 1-1 melee upgrades I mentioned a little bit earlier. Again, with the Balin speed and the mutas being up a bit faster, you can get away with the later upgrades. That is fine. Again, that's kind of the choice you make, right? You kind of go one or the other. Apologies, we missed the Banshees going in, and the first one took a lot of damage, and it went down right away. No kills really had, as the Hellions were just continuing to cruise around the front. So yeah, really good defense so far from Scarlett. She will not allow these Banshees to do much. Now just one Banshee already becomes that much weaker. You don't have that one-shot potential on drones, so without the one-shot potential on drones, you're immediately just like, you know, a lot of the positions you sneak into and you get like boom, boom, 2 drone kills, you get out and you go somewhere else, get a couple more. It just feels so much less effective. Your Banshee has to stick around much longer. You know, you're not one-shotting a drone that is close to you, so you hit it once and it maybe moves to return its minerals, and then it's further away, and then your Banshee chases, runs into a spore. There's a lot of reasons why that one Banshee is just so much worse. So that's why TaeJa's just going to hang around with it on the bottom side. Maybe bring it back in a bit later on. You know, stuff like a 4th base is actually always fun to put a Banshee on, because oftentimes you find it without a, you know, without a Spore Crawler or anything, and if there's no Overseer nearby, you can actually have a pretty fun time. But we'll see how TaeJa wants to use it. Of course, there's no right or wrong way to really use your one remaining Banshee. These Marines going to find an Overlord up on the high ground. TaeJa did keep the Hellions alive all this time, so he has got those to help out with this initial push. Typically, you like to keep the Hellions back at home on the 3rd base to stop a run by. If you're confident there's no run by, then absolutely get them out here with this initial drop. Really powers this up as Combat Shield's about to finish, and TaeJa does have a second tank about to be done too. We'll see if he pushes with the 2 siege tanks. Scarlett is going to run into maybe dive on this, but this is off creep, and Balin speed or not. Off creep, I don't like this fight for Scarlett in any way, shape, or form. She does have the Balin speed, yes, but without the 1-1, off creep, there's just no way I think you should be taking this fight. On creep, bit of a different story. The Hellbats did a good little job of tanking there initially. Scarlett, I think, just trying to clean up a little bit of the first wave of this and then getting ready to go again. She still doesn't have 1-1 though. I would have loved her to wait just a little longer, but with the mutas here, she's actually going to be alright. She's actually going to be able to take down the tank and push a little bit further forwards as well. And now she will have 1-1 finished up. The biggest issue now is just the fact that 2-2 will not be able to start because she doesn't have the gas in the bank ready to go to start 2-2 up. Instead, she's focusing in on these fights. Bane's rolling through. A lot of the Marines going down, but there's a lot of Marines left over as well. And the Lings that continue to flood into that, but just not enough. We do have another round of Banelings already set to go. Scarlett, I love this. Pushing forwards because she wants to protect where she's going to place creep tumors. She wants these creep tumors to go up because she needs to keep the creep here to keep this Terran army at bay. Keep it as far back away from her bases as possible. There's the scan. So again, it just maintains the creep for like a couple of seconds, and then she'll place creep tumors again. It stops the Terran getting that, you know, if this scan was one step further along though, right, then you're losing even more creep. So again, it just keeps the creep there for a moment or two. The mutas don't really have a way to dive on that tank just because she had to wait so long for the rest of the units to show up, but now she's getting here, and now she's actually doing okay. Gets both the Widow Mines. Suddenly the momentum just flipped, and Scarlett is able to just push straight across into TaeJa's army, into TaeJa's base, and Scarlett is going to end up taking a game number 1 of this best. Bottom right-hand side, our red Terran player from Team Liquid down a map, just lost a bit of momentum there in the end. It is our red Terran from Team Liquid, TaeJa. Just a bad fight. Couple of Banes went off. The meter's overwhelming, and TaeJa not able to hang on to that. Especially when Scott's not committing into 2-2, etc. She's putting everything into her army. Definitely helps her out a little bit as she is the blue Zerg. In the top left-hand side, Scarlett for our second game of this best of 3. TaeJa's going to proxy racks as his opening, and then it will just be 2 racks here off the left-hand side. Scarlett, it depends on the second Overlord. Obviously, first Overlord is not going to scout this. So where does the second Overlord go? It is rally down to C, but it depends if she actually wants to send this Overlord across the map because a lot of the time you can send this Overlord like down to like here, and then you're like, okay, I'm actually just going to bring it back to the front. I've not seen anything, so I'm just going to bring it back to the front and just watch for bunkers and so on coming up. So there is a little bit of potential there. As we just see the Overlord continuing along, and again, a couple of barracks are going to be finishing up shortly. So this is going to be a pretty late scout because it is just with the second Overlord. At least Scarlett knows, so she can pull drones to deal with the bunker at the front, right? It's not like this SCV will get to build a bunker unaware. But both these racks are going to finish, and, you know, marine production is starting already. So it's still a pretty good scenario here for TaeJa. So we'll see the first bunker ready to go down in just a moment, but then a few drones show up, so TaeJa gonna pull back and doesn't want to take any hits on these SCVs that he doesn't need to take, because the SCV health is really a resource in this push. You know, you're always looking to get these bunkers up, and SCV health is going to determine what gets those bunkers up or not. We'll back away from this one. We'll start to get some damage done with the initial Marines. Just gave that first bunker up, which I don't mind for this much of a drone pull. As, ooh, that's a surround though, so TaeJa's going to get surrounded. His Marines caught. A couple of Marines going down there to begin. Well, it was a lot of drones pulled, but now Lings are out. And the problem is losing 2 Marines that quickly because of the surround is always going to be a little bit expensive. And now, I think TaeJa might be in a bit of trouble trying to make anything else happen with this. Maybe needs to try and target down some of these lower health Lings. I mean, we'll be able to survive and run away over here. More Marines coming out all the time, right? But again, the Marine count is dropping. And so Scarlett, as soon as she gets a Queen up here, this already looks very good for her, because defensively, what are these 2 Marines going to do against a Queen? Well, really not very much. So Queen's just going to be sitting at the front, and the Marines already falling back. I like this, just the additional Reaper, just kind of like, huh, you know, may as well just get in and see what's going on. So Reaper is building, Overlord was overhead, and just going to be seeing the Ling speed just on that main base. Again, Ling speed up and running. And just again, these Marines passing by underneath the Overlord and up into the main base. Natural Command Center going to be finishing fairly soon as well. Just going to be seeing our creep spread continue to push out, and maybe the Reaper could have got that creep team, but I think more importantly, TaeJa really wants to know what Scarlett's up to here, and we'll go into the main base. We'll see no gas mining, and may even see a couple of extra Lings spawning, right, and give you a bit of an idea that Scarlett wants to come across the map now. Thing is, there are Hellions being produced once TaeJa gets out of this supply block. CC is about to be done. Oh, he's going to go Fusion Core as well, so we're going to be seeing a battle cruiser as the next step of this. Really continuing to scout. Yeah, it's a lot of Lings, but honestly, with the Hellions coming out, unless these Hellions get themselves caught by the Zerglings, there shouldn't be too much of an issue. And the Hellions are rallied into the main base, so they shouldn't be surrounded right away at the start. So Scarlett just backs away, but this does allow TaeJa to stay a little bit closer in terms of work count than maybe you'd expect him to be. So that is a positive, as Reaper unfortunately goes down the ramp and gets picked off. CC will make its way into position. Obviously, no SCVs on the base yet anyway, right? So these Lings won't have anything to kill off right from the start. And the next 2 Hellions are going to pop out, and they are going to go and fight these Lings right away. So yeah, Scarlett, I think, just trying to take some map control of these Lings, but it is Hellions, and it's not weird that it's Hellions either, right? Because unless you see a Rotron, you pretty much always just go into Hellions as a follow-up to this T-Rex, so it's not something I don't think Scarlett... You know, I don't think Scarlett wasn't expecting this. She's just trying to see maybe she could do something if the CC was greedy and built on the low ground. For example, maybe she could catch the Hellions off if they're unprepared. There's definitely ideas here for Scarlett, just none of it really came to fruition this time around. Battlecruiser is already building from TaeJa in the main base. Again, that BC up and running. As our Banelet last will finish up. And then we do have the Armory is already on the way as well. So TaeJa's just going to make this a Hellbat attack. So the Banelings are going to be very important to bust down the Hellbats. You need to bust down the Hellbats here and then be sure you can actually use the Queens to fully focus on the Battlecruiser. Now, the first Bane's already morphing, so Scarlett is very afraid of potentially a Hellbat bust here. She's been very, very cautious, and she hasn't really seen anything, and maybe that's just why. Just doesn't want to take too many risks. She is going to go into Aspire as well, so Taking a few Banes before the Spire, really respecting what TaeJa could come up with here. Again, absolutely should save Scarlett in this upcoming fight as the Hellions morph into Hellbats. It's very important now then that these Banelings get a good connection. It's, from TaeJa's point of view, imperative that he splits these Hellbats up. Exactly what he will do, but even that does give that little bit of extra surrounding power for the Zerglings. TaeJa is actually able to regather these Hellbats together after these Banes have been used. Now starting to do a lot of damage. I mean, this is going to be the third base of Scarlett under heavy fire. Already seeing this Spore Crawler likely to be denied. Hellbat's still alive here as well, and more reinforcing across the map. No second BC as TaeJa actually just building 2 more command centers, so it's like a mega greed follow-up. A massive command centers here as a few more drones will go down. We'll check in on the drone kill count in a moment. That's 1 more here. This Queen goes down, no transfusion. Run, Battlecruiser, run! Oh my goodness, 1 HP it gets away on. Are you kidding me? Oh my god, the last Queen shot went off and I was like, well, that's it, it's gone. 1 HP, it survives, it's out of there, it is safe. Yes, TaeJa behind this as well, like I was mentioning, built 4, went up to 4 CCs. He built 2 more command centers and then into barracks. I don't think that's TaeJa being like, oh my god, I just forgot I forgot I already built my 3rd CC. I think that's TaeJa just maybe want to take full advantage of the fact he's going to keep Scarlett back for a while. He morphs in both these orbitals pretty quickly, so it doesn't seem like it's a mistake or anything like that. He seems pretty confident with what's going on. Well, TaeJa puts himself only 3 workers behind. Now, the mutas are about to show up, but there's a BC here to help defensively. It's always going to say it, a BC. You know what? I actually read somebody translated TY's analysis of his ZvT series, and TY said it really well. TY said the BC, it's like a mosquito. If you don't get rid of it, it's going to come back and it's going to bite you and annoy you again, right? So it's very true, right? Like, this BC, if it never goes down, it's going to show up again and again and again. And, you know, I'm not really talking about defensively here to help against the mutas. I'm talking across the map. It's going to fly over. It's going to get some SCVs. It's going to take a little while to get rid of. Or it's going to get some drones. Sorry, it's going to take a little while to get rid of. And then just as you're about to get rid of it, it's going to teleport away, get repaired up to full, and you go back to step 1. As the Mutalisks go back around over to the right-hand side, just going to be seeing 1-1 melee upgrades coming up. Overlord speed coming through, the Bane speed continuing to build on the Baneling Nest, and just going to be having our +1 flyer attack coming in from Scarlett as well. So just getting that up and rolling here. Our Mutalisks continue to fly around in the center of the map as well. So Mutas continue to move around momentarily out down to the south side of all of this as well. A couple of reactors building from TaeJa in the main base. And Scarlett's Mutas are going to come straight in and will just pick off that missile turret already. So missile turret goes straight down now. Wants to dive in on the siege tank, but will not quite make it there. 2 more medevacts from TaeJa coming out and will come to heal up these couple of Hellbats. The Marines are going to get healed a little bit as well. Siege tanks all setting up. +2 flyer attack coming up on the Spire also, as the BC is going to teleport back down this right-hand side. This BC teleports back down the right. Marines intercept a couple Mutalisks. Obviously, the Mutalisk count is pretty high here. As TaeJa is up against a ton of creep as well, by the way. It's just a maddening amount of creep spread, as we do see 4 bases, all orbitals going up. I'll always be a little bit afraid when the 4th base is an orbital though, because it does mean, yes, you get extra mules, but it does also mean a single Ling run by. You don't even need Banelings to really be effective on the run by there. You can instantly force units back, and you can force SCVs to pull away. You just don't have the planetary force to, you know, help you out in those scenarios. So you don't have to make the bigger commitments to run bys, and that maybe gives Scarlett some extra freedom in how she approaches this game. Marines continue to chase across the left-hand side. The Banes coming through, and Marines will crash in. Hellbats and Marines continue to push through. Like this from Scarlett. A few Banes on the right side. Obviously, you need Banes in this scenario in case there's a deeper wall already up over here. Not the case this time, so the Banes just going to roll by the... Yeah, we could have cut the corner off there. They go off on a missile turret, and... Okay, they get the missile turrets. Obviously, with the Mutalisk count being high, that's something you can make work. TaeJa looked like he was stepping away there, but never stimmed. So kind of took a bad initial engagement. The meters are flying in on the third base as well. Oh my god, they actually just get the command center. Well, that's obviously very expensive. Now the SCVs don't repair up this battle cruiser either, so really rough time at the moment here for TaeJa, as Scarlett gets a lot of damage done. TaeJa's reset down to 3 orbitals. TaeJa is reset to, well, having some trouble against these meters for sure. They're going to find 2 siege tanks in the center. TaeJa is falling apart, and Scarlett making things happen at the moment out on this map. Ling, Bane, Muta all continue to gather up in the middle of this, and maybe wanting to go for a bit of a push forward here once again. Just going to start flying in towards those Marines. Hellbat's there as well. The rest of the Marines coming up from the bottom right-hand side. Marines continue to split back. All of these Banes continue to roll through, and they're going to connect in for everything that Scarlett needs. GG. Scarlett's going to take a game number 2 of this best of 3, and she's going to win it out, and she will end up going through to the semi-finals of today's ESL Open Cup Korea. Honestly, she really did just have a bit too much here. Just did more than enough, obviously, and really kind of TaeJa starting to fall apart, losing this base, relocating the main. GG, Scarlett wins it out, looking pretty dominant in the ZvT.